How do I know who to marry? Those questions are being asked all the time. You think you know this person, yet you wonder whether you're compatible, whether the relationship will last, whether you're meant for each other, whether our differences will work. Do we share the same goals and values? Yes. My next couple, Bolaji and Deji Omisade, met in church. They practically grew up together. So we want to know, when did the sparks start flying? It's no longer brother Deji and sister Bolaji.
I don't think I got the sparks immediately, to be honest. Because you're right, he was brother Deji, and I consider him a big brother and a good friend. So I think it took me by surprise, to be honest.
Yeah, I think, I agree. I think it was a natural kind of growth. I think she'll always joke and say that she didn't always find me attractive immediately, and she grew to love me, I think. But I think it was, how old were you? You were maybe 18?
I was quite young, wasn't I?
Maybe 18,
Yeah,
17
I was
or 18.
so I was still at uni.
Wow.
Yeah. So I think I was just starting university actually when we had a conversation, and he just kind of
signaled my interest.
Yeah. So initially, I'd never actually considered him. I always loved his personality, and I always said to my sister, actually, I wouldn't mind marrying somebody like Deji.
Okay.
I remember saying that to her, like, I love his personality. I love that he was in church, but not only in church, but also like active in church, not just the pastor's kid, but actually doing stuff, and being in a ministry, playing the drums. So I always loved that about him, and he was always really friendly, really kind to people. So I always told my sister, I don't mind his personality, but he's not for me. So so when we had the conversation and he was showing his interest, then I had to take time to think on it, pray on it, and then I would say a couple months later, I was like, yes.
Yeah, but it was a little bit more as well. Like we used to talk quite a lot.
Yeah,
like,
we spoke a lot.
We spoke about who we wanted in partners, our principles, morals, all the what do you like, what's your favorite color, what's your music, all of that stuff we'd speak about for ages. And I think gradually for me it was kind of just like she's it for me. She was my type of girl. So
this is too much.
So invariably, were you like I'm trying to forget, I think I've forgotten this personality, Mr. Malcolm, who had a list of who to marry. Did you watch that film?
No, I haven't. I know the film you're talking about. I haven't watched it, but I didn't. I wouldn't say I had a list.
Okay.
I didn't have a list. Or if I did, it was very short. My list was very short. Like for me, I like a girly's girl, and for me, she was a girly's girl. So for me, that was kind of.
She had repeat that.
She was a girly girl, like a girly girl.
What does that mean?
I used to wear the heels,
high heels, okay. Makeup, hair done.
I did look this good then, so I don't know what you saw, sir.
Shit, I liked it. So. But that was my, I guess, initial. She was a girly's girl, and I liked that about her. But then everything else afterwards, the personality, I guess her principles, the type of person she was always looking after everyone else. Okay. Like she would always put people in front of her, do things for people first. And for me, those, I guess if that was my list, she takes care of people. She shows her love outwardly. So if I had to say I had a list, maybe that was the list for me.
Okay, so subconsciously at the back of your mind, you had these requirements.
Yeah, I would say so. I wouldn't say a long list, but I would say those were
preferences.
I guess you call them preferences of what I wanted in my wife and my woman.
So how did you arrive at those? Your subconscious mind. How did I pick that up? That these things are important.
It's a good question, actually. I think probably from past experiences, because she wasn't my first girlfriend, I would say. So I dated, if I could call it dated before. And not to say they were kind of bad relationships, but I think over time I'd kind of thoughts about what I took away from those relationships that I didn't want to take into my next relationship, and the characteristics and the, I guess, traits that I was looking for that I hadn't had in those previous relationships, what I would want in my future relationships. So I guess maybe it potentially stemmed from kind of what I had been through and what I'd seen and what I felt like I wanted going forward.
Okay.
Just to add, and I think there was something about the interaction with your mom as well, like seeing the person with your mom and their interaction and having that kind of mother-daughter relationship. I think that was important as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Funny story, maybe not so funny story. Those interactions with my mom of previous girlfriends that didn't quite go so well. So I think
with your previous relationship.
Yes.
Okay.
Just traditional things that you'd expect from a traditional Nigerian girl that weren't shown, that my mom wasn't too pleased with. But the way Bolaji, without me having to say this is what to do, this, she naturally just did those things. So for me, it was immediately like, yep, like I don't even have to culturally train her. She's very cultured already.
Okay. So are you saying that subconsciously was your mother that chose?
No, I wouldn't say she chose.
Or rather geared you towards what to look for?
I would say she helped me understand the type of things I should keep an eye out for. I wouldn't say she dictated or like specified like these are the things. I would say just based on like conversation and the way that the things that she did as a wife, I would kind of look at and say, okay, like I would hope that my future wife would do these things for me as well. So when previous relationships, those things weren't shown, it was, for me, it was like, okay, yeah, I know that I need my future wife to do X, Y, and Z, greet my parents this way, or if my mom is in the kitchen, not be in the living room, chilling, watching TV while my mom is in the kitchen cooking, those type of little things. So
just traditional traits.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So Bolaji, did you just fell for him once he showed his interest? Did you have your own? I know you said you've seen some things about him. He looked after people. Did you have anything? I'm sorry, you were quite young, weren't you? 18.
Yeah, I was 18.
So it wasn't on your priority list relationship, was it?
Not initially. I mean, I always wanted to get married in my early 20s, actually.
Okay.
So the timing for me wasn't too rushed in a sense. Yeah, 18, I was quite young. And thankfully, his parents were quite clear on kind of prioritizing my education, which was good for me. But that initial attraction wasn't there. But it was over conversations. So because we were heavily involved in church, we would always be together at church. So I would see him around and occasionally he would offer to drop me home. And it was during those drives that we would have the best conversations, getting to know each other a bit more. And I think that's when the transition from just seeing him as a brother or a friend kind of happened for me. It was through those conversations and kind of seeing how we could be compatible. And I know in courtship, you talk about pretty much everything because your intention is for marriage. So I think that was my thinking that, okay, if I'm going to take this guy seriously, then we need to have these conversations now to even see if this could work. So we spoke about everything from our observations of our parents' relationships, their marriage, what that looked like for us, how I would want my marriage to look like, jobs, roles within the home, literally everything. We tried to talk about it. And then just getting to know each other, like realizing that we had so much in common, genres of music, just different things. And I think that's where my kind of feelings towards him began, just getting to know him on a deeper level and seeing that we were compatible. Yeah.
Was it easy for you not being blinded by love? At first, you were real, you were honest, you were able to talk freely. The friendship thing was the focus. Does it help going in that direction rather than, oh, I'm in love?
Oh,
let's
absolutely.
Let's get this started.
Yeah. Yeah, I think having a foundation of friendship is definitely important, if not one of the most important things. Having God and then having that foundation. I think that really helped us because I always say to my friends, like, COVID for us didn't feel, I mean, it was a difficult time. I'm not going to minimize that. But in terms of us being stuck at home together for that duration, it wasn't a problem for us because we're best friends. So it didn't feel like, oh, I'm tired of this guy. I need a break from him. Not at all, because our foundation was friendship. And so I tell my friends all the time that it's not every day lovey. It's not every day you're going to feel like, oh, I'm deeply in love with this person. That's not what keeps a marriage together. It's really that foundation, that friendship that you have, that keeps you going even when times are really hard. So it's nice to have love at first sight. That's great, but that's not what keeps a marriage together, in my opinion. It's that
So
friendship.
invariably, you grew to love him.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't that hard, to be honest. It wasn't that difficult to love the guy. Not at all, no. It's just initially I didn't see him in that way. But actually, once we started having those conversations, I saw him very differently. And I can't tell you specifically when the shift happened, but it wasn't hard to fall in love with him because he's a great guy.
Okay. During those times when you're having those conversations, did you add questions, difficult questions of yourself? Did you ask those difficult?
I think we did. I think we spoke, like you said, we spoke about quite a lot of things, specifically like the roles, like, would you want to keep working? Would you want to give up your job? Who stays at home, watches the kids? Money, finances, who manages money better? Like, I'm the spender, she's the saver. Those type of discussions, how we raise our children. I think we did. We definitely.
We spoke about a lot, but I think the marriage prep, like before we got married, the marriage classes also helped.
I remember you were chasing me, Auntie. When are we going to start this?
So we had loads of discussions, but obviously you can't discuss everything. I mean, the years that we courted, I was still, early 20s. So there's only so much at that stage in your life. So you're 3 years older than me, so you're a little bit further. But even still, there's only so much So we spoke about enough for us to know, this is what we wanted. But I think those relationship, what's it called?
Marriage
classes, yes. They were very helpful in having those deeper discussions about finances and what that would look like in our marriage was really, really helpful. But now I can't remember what the question was.
If you don't remember, I think I'll help you.
Yes, please.
Now, obviously you had made up your mind that you were going to marry this guy before you came for marriage preparation.
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yes.
And so obviously there were some things that you still hadn't yet discovered. So why did you decide that you wanted to marry him?
I think for the most part, we were compatible. Okay. We shared similar values. It helped that we're both Yoruba Nigerian. It helped that I've known him a very, very long time in terms of like growing up in the church. And even though, when you're younger, when you're teenagers, 3 years age gap feels like you're a long, like it's a long distance. Like I'm 13, he's 16. I would never go have a conversation because I just felt like, oh my gosh, he was too old. But actually, I feel like that gap kind of closed as I started university. So it didn't feel like, oh my gosh, I can't approach this person. So I've always known him. Gone blank again.
Why did you decide to marry me?
Oh, why I decided to marry you? Yeah, I just felt like we were compatible. And it's like we had like a shared timeline almost. As I said before, I wanted to get married quite young in my early 20s. So
Same.
So it just kind of fitted in terms of our goals for our futures and what we wanted. I feel like it just kind of aligned in a sense. And he's great. I loved his personality. I loved his family, and they loved me. That was very important. I was made to feel like I was a part of them. So,
A lot of people go into marriage without their prospective in-laws actually loving them. Would that be a red flag?
Oh, I know too many stories, and I know that it's hard to sustain a relationship when your in-laws aren't on board, or if I could use, let's just say, okay, if I didn't have a good relationship with his mom or his family or his siblings, I can imagine how hard that could be. So I could imagine it being quite hard in any relationship if you don't have that kind of relationship with in-laws, or they haven't bought into the relationship.
Yeah.
I think it makes life a lot easier when you do have that relationship.
Yeah, I agree. I agree as well. I think for myself, her parents treated me like a son. Even before we were married, they would always treat me like a son, and we were able to have conversations and discussions like mother and son, father and son, those type of conversations before we even got married. So I think then being married, it almost solidifies that, like, yes, you are my son, and we can talk about things and relate with each other in a, I guess, mother son, father son way. And I can't imagine it being like that if we didn't get along, if they didn't accept me as a son.
A lot of people would say that not everybody can be like you, Bolaji, in terms of being hands-on. Let's help the mother-in-law. Let's be there. Let's do this. Some people might consider that a tall order.
Yeah, I agree. But you see, there's something about using wisdom. It's not like, I mean, I know the type of personality I have. Almost like a people pleaser. I like to make everybody happy and da-da-da-da. But it's not everybody's, I'm not going to gel with everybody, and not everybody will gel with me. There's personality differences. There's always clashes. But I'm always of the view of you have to use wisdom in terms of how you relate with people. So if I know that my mother-in-law is, a particular type of person, yeah, it might not be easy, but I'll very much prefer to just keep the peace and do the yes ma and do what I have to do to keep peace. But I know not everybody's like that, and that's okay too. You just have to figure it out for yourself. But for the most part, I believe in using wisdom and trying to kind of meet people where they are. Just me, I like peace. So whatever I could do to have peace, I'm going to do it. But I know that, people are very different, and you have to figure it out for yourself. But sometimes it's just easier to just
Keep the peace.
Keep the peace.
and just keep everybody happy.
So you've been married now 10 years and counting.
Yes.
What is the reality like?
Ooh.
Good question.
It's not always roses. It's not always happy. Do you want to go first, babe?
I said the reality is it's work you put in. The work that you put in is what you get out of
100%.
marriage. I think in 10 years, I think that's probably something that we're still kind of learning together. But I think I would say is my biggest takeaway that with marriage, you get what you put in. And you can't expect your marriage to be lovey-dovey, rosy, flowers. And if you're not putting that laying the foundation to actually make that happen, because it's not every day you wake up and you're having butterflies about your partner. You have to actively make a decision to say, okay, today I'm going to be
It's a choice,
happy. I'm going to spoil my partner. I'm going to make her happy. I'm going to make her breakfast, or something like the little things you have to actually choose to do, and I guess plant those little seeds that flourish into everyone actually being a little bit rosy and lovey-dovey and happy.
With the kids involved, that's a different ball game. With 3 children, it's a lot. But yeah, 100% agree. You have to be intentional. And it's choosing the other person every day. So there's so much he does for me that it keeps my love tank full, and then vice versa. And when it's not full, then we have discussions about it when we can. But sometimes life just gets in the way, and it's a lot. So we do have to take time to prioritize each other and do things for each other. So after we got married, every year we would go away for like a yearly honeymoon.
Anniversary.
Yeah, anniversary getaway, as a way of making sure that we always had time for each other. But first kid came along. Second one. Now the third kid, and it's hard to find time. Just even stuff like date night. I don't remember the last time we had a date night. So we have to be even more intentional about the things that we do to make sure that we just don't become roommates and just be, you know, getting through life, because it gets overwhelming.
Yep.
But I mean, my love language is acts of service. So the things that he does for me, as well as there's another one, I think it's physical touch or something. But the things that he does in terms of helping me on the day-to-day with the children, being very hands-on with the children, so I'm not carrying the load by myself. It reminds me of how much he loves me, and like we're really in this together. It's definitely a partnership. So I think just those little things is what keeps us going and keeps the marriage alive. And yeah.
Interesting. I know you said something when life happens in marriage, and you said something like you have to be intentional. Some people would argue that this intentionality, it's overwhelming in the sense that you have a lot going on in your own personal life, and having to think of putting romance into the flow of things could be very challenging. So what motivates you? What motivates you?
I would say seeing my wife happy is my biggest motivation, because I know that there's the saying that's like happy wife, happy life, but I think actually there's some truth to that as well. If I want her to make me happy, I need to make her happy, and if I want her to make her happy, I need to do the things that I know are going to make her happy. Because we both work, she's not a stay-at-home mom, so if we both come back from work and she's responsible for doing all the cooking and putting the children to bed and sorting them out and tidying and cleaning, she's not going to be she's not going to be happy.
I would have left. I would have gone to Dubai.
So if I want to keep her happy, I need to make sure that I'm doing things that enable her to be happy. And like she said, her love language, one of her love languages is acts of service. And it doesn't cost me anything to put the boys to bed, or to wash them, or to tidy up, or to clean. Like, I can do those things. I mean, someone has to do them. So I'll do them. And even if I'm tired, I'll still do them, because I know what I'm investing in. Like, people invest in the stock market, but I choose to invest in my marriage and into my wife as well, because I know what I'm getting out of it, and I know what the end goal is. Her happiness equals kind of our happiness.
See, there's not many guys like this guy at all. There's not many men like him at all. Like when
that's what I heard.
Yeah, he's a special kind of person, but it goes both ways. Like it helps me out a lot. But I think the way we were raised is, it's kind of like the woman does pretty much everything. When it comes to the children, you deal with the children, you do the cooking and cleaning. But actually, this is what it's supposed to look like. It's supposed to look like partnership. And I appreciate that he also works a lot, and it's not easy to finish work and then, you know, sort the kids out. I do lashes, and sometimes I have clients in the evenings. So he would have worked the entire day and then help with the children. So I know it's not the easiest of things to do, but he also sacrifices in the same way that I sacrifice. So it's definitely like partnership. He does for me, and I also do for him. And I also make sure that he feels appreciated in the things that he does, because it's not every man that would do it. Yeah.
So it's reciprocal, isn't it?
Yes,
It is reciprocal. Have you ever had a break or make more moment in your marriage?
Well, as in
those difficult challenges that if you face the difficult challenges, that it's a make or break. Can go this way or go the other way. Did you?
I think maybe when we were trying for our second child, maybe.
But the thing I would say is, I don't think for me anyway, entering into marriage, I never thought that there would be a break, like anything to break us, because we entered into a covenant, and for better or for worse. So for me, I might joke with him that, listen, I'm packing my bag, but it's never been an option for me. And obviously I understand that there's circumstances where that has to be an option for other people, depending on what type of relationship you're in. But in terms of the conversations that we had before we got married and building that foundation, I never thought, when I said, okay, yes, I'll marry you, it was for forever. But yes, there have been challenges. And in terms of what you said about the gap, so we had our first son like 6 months. I got pregnant 6 months after we got married. And it wasn't planned. We were like, oh, we're going to go live our lives for 2 years.
Yeah.
Go and have fun. So it wasn't planned. It just kind of happened. And looking back now, that's how God wanted it, because when it was time to have the second one, that was very interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you want to go ahead or should I keep
No,
talking?
I think it was, like you said, it was challenging because
Yeah.
we ideally wanted to have a kind of smaller gap between the two children than we did. So the gap between our first and second is 6 years. And I think for me personally, I think you'd agree that was probably a challenging time for us. Just you're trying to conceive and it's taking ages, and you almost feel like your intimacy becomes a chore, or you have to schedule things around the way the body
Ovulation, all of these things.
and I think for us that became quite challenging. I would say quite tough.
It was
a strain.
challenging. It was tough because you just don't think, oh, it's going to happen to you, especially because we had our son, our first son, without working, I guess, too hard. It just put a span in the works, just something that you didn't expect. And for me anyway, it was very heavy emotionally. So I found that I wasn't as happy as I would be and as smiley as I would be. And yeah, just a lot of like sad times, really.
Wow.
Yeah. And then, as you said, it affected our intimacy, and it doesn't become enjoyable anymore. It's more like a chore, like when you have a specific goal, and it just puts a strain, really. So, and then it's easy to blame each other as well.
Yeah.
It's easy to blame each other. Yeah, it was hard, but we got through it. Yeah.
One would ask, what's the pressure? You already have a child and you've already broke that barrier of parents waiting. Where is my child going to? My daughter's going to have a child. You've broken that barrier. So what's the pressure? And you're still young. Why can't you just continue living your best life?
Yeah.
I think there's pressure because we were still young, and when you're that young, you don't expect that you'd wait that long to have another child. Yes, we already had one child. Our parents already had grandchildren. That wasn't their first grandchild, so they already had more than enough grandchildren. But I think for us, it was a case of first child wasn't necessarily planned, but then the second child, we had our plans. Like, okay, we want him to be this age, him or her to be this age. We want to be this age when we have our second, so they can go to the same school together, go to like grow up together, share a room, like be a similar age.
Yeah.
So, and when it doesn't happen that way, then you almost start to feel the pressure on yourself. Like, okay, like the time is going, like we're still young. You don't expect that, like, because you see other people having children in their 30s and 40s, and you're like, hold on, we're in our 20s. Like, why is it taking so long? So I think that was a pressure. Maybe we put it on ourselves.
Okay, that's what I wanted to ask. Seems as if it's inside pleasure, not outside
absolutely.
pressure.
I mean, it's a little bit of pressure from outside. You know, our culture is always
Really?
an auntie saying, "Oh, but
When
Bolaji, the
is
time is going. When's the next one?"
Yeah.
Because I know the amount of times I've had to say, I'm working. God is working. We're working on it.
Wow.
God
So
is
you had
in control.
those conversations with
yes.
people?
Absolutely.
And the third one, they're still asking.
Even after our third child, people are still asking when is the fourth one.
Is it not because they don't have anything to say?
Possibly. I don't know. I'm like, what do you want from us? We've already got 3.
But to be serious, there is something about our culture. We're Nigerian, so Nigerian culture, and that. And sometimes I think I like to say aunties. Aunties mean it in like, I don't think they mean anything malicious. It's not a malicious intent or trying to kind of make you feel bad. But the reality is most people don't know what's going on in your life. And so when comments like that came, I try to brush things off. But there might be a day where I'm really, really struggling emotionally, or maybe my period just came, or my cycle just came, and I'm really upset. And that might happen to be on a Sunday, and an auntie might just say, "Oh, Bolaji, time is going. It's an hour and 4 now. What is going on? You should have. No, you need to give birth to them, so you do everything together." I'm like, yes, ma. But inside, I'm I'm really,
You're sitting with anger.
I'm not even anger. I'm so upset. Like you don't know how difficult this month has been for me. I mean, I won't hold a grudge, and I'm not gonna not greet the auntie next week. But it's just sometimes those comments don't help because people don't know what you're going through. So I think that added a little bit of pressure. Like, oh, another auntie's gonna ask me next week.
So aunties, please.
But I think also culturally as well,
Yeah.
because I think our parents, when I look at my parents, they have many siblings. And I think back home, you can have that many children because you'll have grandma here who can look after the kids, or auntie here who can look after the kids. But I think living here in this country, it might not be so practical to have 6, 7 children at once. I don't know. I that's just how I feel, that you don't necessarily have live-in parents with you, or aunties, or house helps, or whatever you want to call them. You don't necessarily have that here. But I think just the perception of, you can have 4, 5, 6, 7 children. Nursery's expensive. I think people forget that you have to pay for nursery here. You can't just leave your children with one auntie and go to work and come back and collect your children. It's not as practical. So I think those type of things as well just helped us when we were kind of saying, okay, you know what, we'll have this many children and
that's it.
Call it quits.
Do you think God had a hand in bringing you together and you are destined for one another?
I feel that way. I definitely feel that way, because when I look at I guess we spoke about earlier, the criteria that I had in my mind of who I wanted, what I wanted in a partner, and the different requirements, I believe Bolaji meets all of those. And I don't think that's just coincidence. Okay. That's why I would say I think God has destined us to be together, and we enjoy so much of the same things. Like we just both love to travel, for example. That's just one thing that we both do. Music, same thing. Just the way that we are it's similar. I can't think of anyone else that would be as compatible with myself. And not to say there's not anyone else out there, but
it's only me, darling. It's only me.
But in my head, it's like, for me, she is it. And I think, like I said, that's not a coincidence for me.
I think God was definitely involved. Like even before we decided that we wanted to go down the marriage route, there was things that we did in terms of like taking time to seek God's face separately, praying on it. You took time to pray and fast even before you approached me, I think. So there was, in the beginning, there was definitely a lot of praying and seeking God's face, and I definitely did that as well. And I think there was a point at that early stage where I just felt, I don't know if this guy is for me, because everybody loved him. All the girls would be saying, hi Deji. And I was just like, oh, another girl is saying hi. Oh, another girl is getting a hug. Oh, no. So I think there was a lot of questioning for me. So I had to make sure in myself that I was 100% sure that this was the person God wanted me to be with. And then we also prayed and fasted together even before we got married. So stuff like that really helped in just getting that confirmation that this was it.
I know a lot of people advise, have you prayed about it? What is God saying? Did God say, oh, Bolaji, my daughter, Ayodeji is your husband?
I'm not going to lie. No, that wasn't for me. That wasn't how I heard God speak to me. I think yours was a bit different. But for me, and I struggled as well, because I don't remember who I spoke to about it. Maybe it was you, Auntie. I can't remember. But I was saying there isn't a vivid voice telling me, Ayodeji is the one for you. No, it was more so for me praying about it and just having peace of mind. And it was also the type of prayer I was praying. So if I would take time and listen and I didn't hear anything, then I would also say, okay, God, if it is that we're not supposed to be, then you orchestrate it in a way that it just doesn't happen, or somehow we'll separate. Because at the start of our relationship, I had just started university. So I had many opportunities at university to find somebody else or have other relationships, but he remained in the picture. So it was those things, and my prayer was that, God, you just orchestrate it in a way that, if this is it for me, then it will all work out, because I know you do the best for me. And if it isn't, Baba God chase him away. Some this will not. Yeah. So that was my way of, I guess, hearing from God.
Talk about peace for the benefit of people who might be in a relationship or about to go into a relationship, and you're being asked to pray about it, and everybody's talking about you feel this peace. Can you describe this peace that you experience those moments, so they can know what to expect, because it can be a little bit shrouded in mystery.
Yeah.
Peace. How do you describe it? Because you can feel peace in anything if you can make yourself be at peace with anything.
Yeah. I guess it will be different for everybody. I guess for me, it was a combination of things. Knowing that it was the way we, I wouldn't say met, it was the way our relationship began. So that journey, seeing it more as a courtship than dating. So being intentional in our conversations, getting to know him as a person, being aligned in our values, in our, our thinking, in how we saw marriage, what that should look like, all of those things, in addition to praying and asking God that, okay, God, if this is the person for me, then it would just keep getting better and better. And if he is for me, then it would just be, I'll just feel fine in myself. I'll just be at peace about it. And that'll probably be the best way to describe feeling that peace.
Obviously, did you had already made up your mind that this is the girl you want to marry?
Well, yes and no, because I think at the time, I think around the time that you were talking about, for me, I didn't necessarily hear a voice in the sky say kind of she's the one, but I was interested in her. And I think one prayer that I had said was that the Lord should kind of open my eyes to be able to see clearly, like, is she the one for me? And I think I told the story before that I was playing the drums one day and she was on the stage singing, and it was as if my eyes just opened. And like, because we had gone from brother Deji, sister Bolaji for so long to just actually just seeing her in that moment as, okay, she's not sister Bolaji anymore. She's potentially more than sister Bolaji. I think that was, for me, that was that kind of peaceful, eye-opening moment that kind of just confirmed to me that, yes, like my interest in her wasn't kind of misguided. Like she is the person. It was almost like the light just shined on her.
Not the light.
A light bulb moment.
Yeah.
Interesting.
It's a long time ago, though.
Yeah.
So has it all been worth it?
Oh, absolutely.
Yes. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
I think 3 children definitely makes it worth it. Being together makes it worth it. The happy moments, the not so happy moments, working through those, I think makes it worth it. You kind of grow and develop with each other.
Yeah, we've definitely had to do that. We've grown together. We've been together a long time. So yeah, we've definitely grown together because I'm not the same 23-year-old he married. I've matured, and I would say the same.
You were 23 when you got married.
Yeah.
26.
Yeah, so we've definitely grown together.
That's almost like a lifetime away.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We've grown together, and I think we're still learning. But the important part is that we're doing it together, and we're always communicating, trying to keep that line of communication open. So if there's something I'm not happy about, or vice versa, we'll always talk about it. So,
And I think just seeing also where we still want to go, because I think one of the reasons I personally wanted to have children earlier was because I didn't want to get into my 50s and 60s and still have young children. Like I still want to travel the world with her.
We still have goals.
Yeah. I mean, I love my children, but I want to travel with my wife and just be able
when you still have the energy.
Yeah, exactly. And I think just working towards those things, it still gives you something to look forward to.
Yeah, thank you. Bolaji said something that there are not many men, young men like you, who is able to sacrifice all do whatever it takes to make their spouse happy, wife happy. Why is that? Perhaps you can speak for them, or you have an idea.
I think if I had to try and summarize, maybe it's just because of the conventional thinking that some people have, that the woman is responsible for the looking after the children, responsible for the cooking, responsible for the cleaning, responsible for building the home, like responsible for everything, and the man just goes out and is the breadwinner and comes home and like provides, and that's it. I think that's possibly a misconception that some men, young men, old men have, that my wife does everything else. Like, this is my role and this is only my role.
Only my role.
Yeah. And I think that's probably where they miss it, because it, like my wife said, it's a partnership, and it has to be a partnership for both parties to benefit from it. And that's not to say that women can't be homemakers or shouldn't be homemakers, but I think there are some women who are built that way, that they want to do that. And if that's what they want to do, then that's fine, as long as they receive the support that they need from their husbands. That's absolutely fine. But I think for myself, I know that my wife doesn't want to be a stay-at-home mum, and I know what I need to do to help and support her. So I think for other men, it may be just a misconception that this is only my role. I just provide the bread and that's it. My wife does everything else.
Some of them are not even providing the bread.
That too. So it's like you need to be providing something, right? If you're not providing the bread and you're not supporting, then what are you doing? I think that there definitely needs to be an understanding of, if you are especially the man and you are trying to lead a home, you need to be doing something. You can't just expect things to function in a home without some kind of leadership or support or guidance. So I think that's where a lot of men will miss it.
So what would you say to young unmarried people out there who are looking to marry? What would you advise? Who are asking that question? Who should I marry? What should I look for in a life partner?
I would say just remember that everything isn't going to be rosy and lovey-dovey, and you should potentially give that guy or that lady a chance, because like my wife said, she wasn't immediately attracted to me. I probably didn't tick every one of her boxes immediately, and you need to have that opportunity to almost like see the potential in that person and not just shut the door immediately. You have to see the potential in that person. So maybe just allow yourself to allow that person to grow and develop into their potential, I think I would say.
I feel like there's so much more that goes into marriage. And I think in this day and age, we're so focused on the physical sometimes. And it's nice to have a criteria or a box or a list of things that you'd like in a partner. That's fine. But it's making sure that those things are realistic. And it's about working on yourself first and making sure that you're the best version of yourself to be able to give to somebody else. Because, as I say, it takes both parties to make a marriage work. And even after the marriage after you've done the wedding day and you're married, the work continues. It's like you're choosing that person every day. It's a choice. Being married, being in love, it's a choice. It's not, I've fallen head over heels and I'm always going to be falling in love. No, I'm choosing to stay and be in love with this person, regardless of what that looks like. So, yeah.
Thank you for coming to Forever and Ever. I think this is the first time we are having this conversation since you got married. You went through marriage prep. And I have been saying that I need to come over just to find out how you are getting along. So it gives me great delight to see how wonderfully you are getting along, and to see your children, and just to see that yes, I'm glad that I took you through it.
Thank you also.
I'm glad. It's always wonderful to see that you're all doing well.
Yeah.
And you are all doing well. I like. They're all doing well. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.